What's up, you guys? What is up? What's up, beautiful people? And what's up, YouTube? I am repurposing this mannequin. I'm repurposing it, meaning that I am reusing this mannequin. You see it already had the cut on it. So now we're going to just switch it on up. We're going to switch it right on up. So I'm just doing like the basic sectioning for the Pixie cut, which is where you just section the front off from the sides and back. You just section the front part off from the sides and the back, which you see me doing. This mannequin has already been chopped. And so the sides were chopped, like really short. So I'm just going to do some blending over here on the side. That's what you see me doing. On the other tutorial for the short hair, I didn't speed it up at all. This one is sped up because that one lasts like over an hour. So I'm sure you guys get the gist of it. And so here we are on the side, just blending. We just gonna cut this mannequin down a little bit shorter. And just to let you guys know, mannequins are human hair. So you can color them, you can cut them, you can whatever. They are human hair. And like I had said in my other, the Pixie cut video, that they cost about $30, $35, something like that. Most of the time, if I get a mannequin, I just get it on Amazon because I can just order it and it'll show up at my door in 2 days later. So, but you can definitely go in a beauty supply store and get them, like the Sally's or your other local beauty supply stores. So on the side over there, what you can't really see me doing and what I'm actually doing, I had blended the sides down some. Because when you do haircuts, everything has to blend together. Like you don't want one short piece and then a long piece. You don't want it to drop off. So you see how I'm doing, and that's the purpose of having a guideline. Because the guideline helps you to keep everything blended. Because it would look pretty weird if you have a long piece and a real short piece, like the part that I just cut right then. See there? See, that would look weird. So that's why, that's the purpose of cutting hair, to blend it in. And then even when I go on the sides, you can't have like a really short side and then the rest is real long over it. I mean, it won't blend. So everything in cutting, a lot of it has to do with blending the hair. So I've already done both sides, and now I'm focusing on the back. And so I'm taking that hair in the front at the apex of the head. I'm bringing it back. So what happens when you're cutting the hair in the front, like the hair that's going to be in the front, when you're cutting that hair, but you're pulling it back, you see how the hair that's going to be in the front, I'm pulling it back, right? So what that does, when you take that hair that's in the front and you pull it back, that's called over-directing. And basically what all that does is it makes the hair be longer, because when you pull in the front to the back, obviously it's going to make the hair longer in the front. And so some people do pixie cuts, but some clients like the front to stay long, like the fringe area, aka the bang area. Some people like pixies, but they like the front to have some length to it, so they can kind of switch it up. So I'm doing some point cutting. So one thing about point cutting, if you don't have the curved shears, because they do have shears that are pointed, or that are curved rather. So on this side here, you see how I'm blending this in? And so again, when you're point cutting means that you're taking section of hair and you're kind of pointing the shears down towards your fingers. So when you're point cutting, you don't want to cut your finger, of course. So they do have shears that are curved, and so that they won't cut your finger. So all I'm doing now right here, I've already cut the front. You've seen me do that already. So I decided I wanted to make that front a little bit shorter. So I'm blending it all. I'm over directing. I'm doing a lot of stuff. So I'm point cutting now. So you just want to make sure you keep those, because these shears are not curved. So I want to keep my finger far, far away from that blade, because I don't want to end up with some DNA on that mannequin. I don't want any of my old positive blood, so I'm point cutting again. So you just want to keep your fingers down. And that just adds texture and movement in the hair. And see, the back that's long back there on the nape, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to use some clippers with that to trim that nape area down. And you're going to see that as well. So I'm doing some point cutting. I'm being careful not to cut my fingers. So I'm just checking the blending. And then with cutting and all this other stuff, you can definitely tweak once the hair is dry. So I got a number 2 guard on there. And I'm just pretty much pushing, using my comb to help with the guide, to help keep the clippers down in the nape area so I won't go up too high. So I don't want to go up too high with the clippers. So I'm keeping the clippers in the nape area, and I'm using a number 2 guard because I'm not trying to make the back too short. So I'm doing a little bit of scissor over comb just to kind of blend. And you can see that front is still long. But again, with pixie cuts, the cut is pretty much a basic cut, which is what I'm doing now. But you can make the pixie be different lengths. Like you can make the pixie be short in the front too. I mean, the bang fringe area doesn't have to be that long, but different clients want different stuff. So now this mousse is influence mousse. You may see it in a different pump bottle. That's not the influence pump bottle, but that's influence mousse in that bottle, just to let you know, just FYI. So I bought a whole gallon of influence mousse. I didn't even know they sold it in a gallon. So when I found out, of course, I buy it in a gallon. Because this mousse, it doesn't leave any kind of buildup. It doesn't leave any kind of film on the hair. It doesn't leave any residue whatsoever. I mean, this foam, it really seems like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's really good. And then when you put it on, it just stays put. I mean, it's not runny. It doesn't run all in the client's face. Of course, this is a mannequin, so I'm not worrying about blinding this mannequin with mousse. But if this was a real client, of course I wouldn't. But I'm just trying to explain about the mousse. Like it goes wherever you put it. It's not runny. It's not drippy. It's none of that. So wherever you put this mousse, that's where it's going to be. So again, like I taught in the other video, when you're molding, you just pretty much combing, and you just pretty much almost basically telling the hair where you want it to be. The hair will comply as long as you mold it how you want to mold it. Like I can't be molding this hair to bring front area over to the right, but then try to curl it to the left. because I'm training it, pretty much telling it in advance that I'm going to curl it to the right. So here we are. We took out strips. It's dry. So when you comb out the mold, you just pretty much, and then you see all that mold, all that mousse that I put on there, all that influence mousse that I put on there, right? You saw how much I put on there, but you don't see no residue. The hair isn't hard at all. There's no film. The hair is not tacky or sticky or gummy or none of that at all. I promise you. So that influence mousse is the bomb and the .com. You understand? Holla if you hear me. So now I'm just cleaning up around the ears, and I'm just framing this nape area back here. I'm going all the way down and trying to clean it up. But you see how nice that mold looks because the influence mousse is fabulous. So now I'm cleaning out around this ear. And don't forget, this is a repurposed mannequin. It was already cut into a style before, like a Kelly cut, a longer Kelly cut, which is pretty much an updated not virgin. It's an updated version of the mohawk. To me, the Kelly cut is a mohawk, an old school mohawk, except it's just an updated version. So now I'm just cleaning up the hairline around the front. And you see no residue in this hair. So anytime you're curling hair, in my opinion, I would suggest that you use some kind of serum or some kind of oil. Because what that does, it makes it easier for whatever tool you use, whether it be Marcel irons, whether it be flat irons, or whatever tool that you decide to use, that oil gives you that slippage that you're going to need. So that flat iron will glide, or whatever you choose to use will pretty much glide and won't be just stuck. It'll just slide down the hair when you start curling. So you saw me use a little serum. Then I used a little oil sheen. And then I used some Got To Be Glue freeze spray. Now, this is a mannequin. I guess it would help if I plugged in a flat iron. So next. So I'm just doing some on-base curls, which I mentioned in my other Pixie cut video. So these are just on base. So one thing that you want to take heed of is that wherever you put the part at, if you have a part somewhere, like I have, the way I molded it, there's a very small part in the crown. So when you start curling, it's always good to work right there in that crown and start curling there, because then you can go ahead and focus on closing that part up, unless you want the part to show. If you don't want the part to show, then start curling there, and that way you can make sure it's covered so that you won't have to worry about that later. So I'm just continuing with these on-base curls. That's all I'm doing. And I'm just going towards the face. This Babyliss iron, or however you choose to pronounce it, some people pronounce it Babyliss, some people Babyliss. But I wish they had more smaller irons. Like, it seems like all the irons that they make are bigger, like 1 inch. I think that one that I had, that I was just using, is the only small iron that they have that I know of. I wish they start making some small, because their irons are like the bomb. In my opinion, they're the best. Those blue Babyliss irons, to me, they're fabulous. I just wish they would make a line of small, like 1/2 inch, pencil size, the small ones for doing the Pixie styles, because their irons are just fabulous. They ain't cheap, but they are fabulous. I love them. They're my favorite. So the only small iron that I know that they sell is that little blue short one. I wish it was, I don't mind it being blue, and I don't mind it being, the size it is, but I just wish it was long, like a long one. It's so short. So I just wish they would come out with a line of, like 1/2 inch and smaller, like the 1/2 inch and that pencil. So when you start curling, as you can see, once you start curling the hair, you can kind of start seeing the style. So you kind of almost have to have the picture of the style in your head. Like most clients will just say, curl it, or you may ask them, usually people, they allow you to curl it however. Most people not that particular. They just want their hair done. So I'm just continuing to curl, and I'm going in the direction like you see me going to the right, moving the curls to the right. And then at the top, you want to try to put curls as I said, you want to try to close up anywhere that you had a part at. Otherwise, if you don't close it up, the style is going to have a big part right there. Wherever the part is, if you don't close it up, meaning that you don't put curls where that part is so that you can hide the part. Unless you want the part to show, that's fine. But if you don't want the part to show, then you need to make sure you put a lot of curls right there just to cover it up. And when you style it, be cognizant of the fact that you're trying to cover that hole up. And like I said in the other video, sometimes you have to tweak. You have to tweak the curls sometimes. Every stylist does that. Because sometimes, when you start curling and when you start styling it out, you may see a little hole that you need to try to cover and fill in. You don't want holes in the hair, like in the style, once you start styling it out. So you may have to go back and put a curl or two, and that's fine. Absolutely fine. It's all about the finished product. That's it. The client, they are fine as long as they walk out the door looking, great. So I'm just showing you these different tools that you can use for your style out. Now, I know I have the video sped up. I didn't want to get it and have it so slow like the last one. So you can comb out with that rake. You can comb out with the ends of the rat tail. It's all kind of ways you can style it out. And again, this is a mannequin, so that's why I'm using so much product. Of course, I wouldn't use this much product in a client's hair. This is a mannequin, so. And this is the same mannequin that I used in another video, in the other Pixie video, that where it was really long, looking like a mohawk. I just went on and repurposed it, and you saw me cutting it a few minutes ago on this same video. So that mannequin is now short. The other mannequin that I used in that video, in that Pixie cut video, you notice how I had shaved the back all the way off? So this mannequin I didn't, because you saw me just do the clipper cut on this one and some scissor over comb. And so I left some length on this one. Now, when you're styling your client's hair or when you're molding their hair And the nape of their neck back there, as you can see, you can use some brown gel, because the brown gel usually lays the hair down, but it won't leave a buildup or anything like that. So whenever you're doing these pixie styles, you want the hair to look nice from every angle, from every direction. So you can take the rake comb and you can lift it up. You can make it higher at the top, add more height. You can style it with your fingers. You can use some edge wax. You can use some of that. This is the finished look, you guys. I'm going to get some live models. Just stay tuned. This is the finished look. I hope you like it. Please comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell. This is where you find me. Comment, like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Thank you so much for watching me. Thank you so much. Please subscribe. See you really